Hello everyone, today we are talking about Iron Lung, the first film from Markiplier, better known on YouTube as Markiplier. His channel is all about gaming, but today he's stepping into a whole different lane as an actor, writer and director, taking on the film adaptation of Iron Lung.
It's a high risk.
A pretty bold move for an indie horror game that did well, but still flies way under the radar for most people. The story, built around a pretty simple concept, is genuinely one of the strangest things out there. We follow Simon, a convict locked inside a submarine, whose sentence is to map the bottom of a blood ocean on some desolate moon. He's out there looking for answers on behalf of the last survivors of humanity, all trapped in a post-apocalyptic universe where the stars and habitable planets have just disappeared.
Something wrong?
Pretty wild premise for a film adaptation, even if we've seen weirder. Iron Lung lives and dies by its mysterious atmosphere, and while that worked perfectly as a video game, and the success kind of proves it, the jump to the big screen just doesn't land. The cracks in the concept show up fast, and you can blame a script that's paper thin and stretched way past its breaking point.
No argument from me.
2 hours is a long time to fill, and a few scattered moments of tension here and there as Simon stumbles onto new discoveries just doesn't cut it. Bottom line, Iron Lung really struggles to keep you hooked, and the whole thing ends up being a pretty serious snooze fest. The haters aren't shy about saying that nobody's really going to bat for this film except Markiplier's fanbase and diehard fans of the game. And honestly, they might be onto something, which is kind of a shame because the film does have some things going for it, and there was real potential here.
That's right.
First thing worth mentioning is Markiplier's performance as the defiant convict. And that's not a controversial take, even if opinions are all over the place on this one. Some people think his acting is too flat, others say it's nothing special but solid enough for a YouTuber making his first film. I'm in that second camp. I actually find him pretty convincing and natural, especially considering how weak the dialogue is. The real standout of Iron Lung is obviously its claustrophobic atmosphere, and they nailed it. The inside of the submarine is seriously oppressive, tight quarters, an oxygen gouge staring you in the face, and this cool mix of old rusty pipes and futuristic tech that gives it a kind of steampunk vibe that actually works. The lighting looks great and the cinematography is solid, even if it leans on the now very familiar orange and teal combo.
Is that a fact?
Some critics complain the film is too dark, but honestly that's a non-issue. The low light does exactly what it's supposed to and really sells that suffocating submarine feel. So design-wise, this is a win. Which is a good thing because you're going to be spending roughly 2 hours in that submarine. 2 hours watching Simon grind away at mapping the depth of this blood ocean, armed with nothing but an X-ray scanner that takes rough snapshots of whatever's right outside the sub.
Some kind of a joke?
And as you'd expect, the things he finds get more and more unsettling as he digs deeper. The X-rays pile up, clues start emerging, kind of like those horror movies where things shift ever so slightly between photos, like in Insidious for example. It's a tried and tested trick and it works. The way I'm describing it, it sounds like a pretty exciting ride, but let me pump the brakes right now, because while Iron Lung absolutely nails the atmosphere, the pacing is a whole different story. It never takes off, not once.
This should never happen.
The opening does a decent job of slowly building tension, but the film is long, way too long, and it completely fails to hold your attention across those 2 grueling hours. It's basically an epic nap, barely interrupted by a handful of tense moments that struggle to snap you out of it. Things happen, but nothing that really hits hard right away, even if they're nudging toward a more dramatic ending that shows up way too late. The reveals are too vague to actually grab you, and on top of that, the dialogue is often repetitive, leaving you with a fuzzy sense of what's going on even if you piece it together.
As if my life wasn't complicated enough already.
Case in point, you'd have basically no way of knowing that the blood ocean is sitting on some desolate moon without hitting up Google first. And that's like day one stuff you should already know going in. Info that wouldn't spoil a single thing about the mystery the film is going for. Simon curses a lot, freaks out constantly, and keeps trying to negotiate his way out of his situation with his supervisors through a bunch of exchanges full of static and crackling noise where you learn pretty much nothing about his backstory or the surviving humans. Good luck connecting with the guy and actually caring about his problems. Though sure, we're all kind of trapped in something, if you want to stretch that metaphor as far as it will go.
Sounds pretty feeble to me.
Our guy just goes in circles, sketching his map, chewing on his pencil, pressing buttons, squinting at X-rays that are mostly impossible to read, and pushing paper around like some kind of corporate drone who just needs a spreadsheet to complete the picture. And maybe that's the real metaphor here.
A recurring symptom of your subconscious.
Anyway, just when you think it's wrapping up, it starts all over again. The problem is that the Iron Lung universe is completely impenetrable if you're coming in cold. And if the game did a better job of explaining things, I suppose, it definitely doesn't show in the film. Without spoiling anything, there's a creature involved, the poster pretty much gave that away, but once again the film just keeps you in the dark on purpose. So Iron Lung is basically banking on your imagination to fill in the massive plot holes. Best case scenario, you manage to piece something together by reading between the lines. Worst case, you end up like me, cooking up Lovecraftian theories, honestly the only ones that would have made any sense out of this story, right before the film pulls the rug out with an abrupt and pretty baffling ending that has basically nothing to do with Lovecraft.
I'd like an answer, now.
Bottom line, Iron Lung is a slug that started from a good place but missed the mark by a mile. The film is easily 45 minutes too long, and without that dead weight, the story would probably be a much tighter watch. I'd genuinely be curious to see an 80-minute spectator's cut someday, but as it stands, this one is clearly for the fan of the game, which is probably who it was made for in the first place. For everyone else, like me, it's a tough sit despite the killer atmosphere and the decent special effects, which just aren't enough to save the whole thing. Iron Lung says way too little over way too long at way too slow a pace.
There's just no end to it.
Don't say I did not warn you. If you've seen it, drop your thoughts in the comments. That's all for today, and I'll catch you in the next one.